Jen from Fabulous Paper Emporium. Boy, it feels like it's been forever since I've done one of these. So I do apologize, but there has been a lot of things going on. So if you wait until the end of the video, I've got an exciting announcement, I guess. Excuse me. So excited that I've got a frog in my throat. Anyhow, but right this instant, I am going to go through a card that I've kind of fallen in love with. I found it on Mixed Up Craft. Sam Calcott from the UK has a channel, obviously, and she's done this card, and I've done a couple of them now, and I really love the way it looks. So you can judge for yourself. I'm just going to show you one of the completed cards. Of course, there's going to be some differences with the card that we're making today, just simply because, you know, this is a journaling card, so I only have one of them. And, you know, I want to change it up. I don't always like to make the same card over and over and over again. I like to experiment a bit. Today, I am using the Cardabella Farmhouse Christmas paper collection. And I say this all the time, but it's one of my favorite. So we'll just leave it at that. If you've watched enough of my videos, you know that just about every paper pack I pull out is my favorite, or is gorgeous, and they simply all are. I don't think I've seen a paper that I haven't liked. Anyhow, so this one looks very unassuming from the front, although it does have some very nice detail, but it's got this beautiful inside that is like a frame. I can't remember what Sam called hers. I called it an accordion fun fold frame card. You can call it whatever you'd like to call it. How about that? So there is obviously the front, and this is the accordion bit right here. And then you do have, I've decorated the back, and I'm finding that with a lot of the decorative cards, if you decorate the back, this gives you a lot of extra space to write a message, really personalize it. And this way you have a lot more area to decorate, which is that much more fun for us. Anyhow, so I did want to go through this with you today, and hopefully you like it and enjoy it and are thinking about Christmas, although the weather outside is still not really Christmas-y, but we're getting there. And if you're a maker like me and most other people, I think you're probably thinking about making the Christmas cards that you're going to be giving out. So let's get right to it. I'll go through all the paper sizes, the paper needs, cardstock, that kind of thing. And a lot of the pieces, well, I'll mention as we go through the pieces that are specific to this particular card. Because like I said, we're not making this card, although you can definitely make that. And I will post the sizes for what this, like all the accoutrement that I used for this one. And it does use some of the stickers that are found in the paper, for a moment now my mind has gone blank, in the collection kit. Thank you. And so each one, I mean, that's the great thing. Each one can be unique and personalized to the person that you're giving it to. So it always makes it that much nicer, I think. So first things first, this is going to be my base color for the card that we're doing today. I'm doing red, and I decided to do the middle and the outside pieces the same color, just so that way it blends in a little bit nicer. I did this the same way. I did the craft paper for the base, and that was for the outside as well as this little inside flap. They're two different pieces, and we'll get to that right now. So for this one, it is a base, and it's 10 by 7, and we're going to score this one at 5. And then for this little inside mechanism, this one is 10 by 3 3/4, and this one is scored at 2 3/4, 5, and 7 1/4. So fairly easy and straightforward. Now the inside, I guess, mechanism that is the accordion is a piece that's also going to be cut at 10 by 7. And this one is scored. We'll do the scoring a little bit later. I have already scored this piece, but I'll show it to you in depth when we are doing the actual card. And then for the outside, I've cut a couple of pieces. So I've got the Kraft paper, and this is cut at 4 3/4 by 6 3/4. And then our next layer is going to be this white. And this, I've got 2 pieces again, and this is cut at 4 1/2 by 6 1/2. And then I have a piece of patterned paper. So in this card, I'm using this plaid. And for this one, it is 4 1/8 by 6 1/8. You only need 1 piece because, again, we're using the back to put all of our decorations on. And then I've selected this one, Have Yourself a Merry Little Christmas. And this is the journaling card. So this is 3 by 4. Yes. And then for the inside, I cut these 2 little pieces for the 2 panels that come out of the frame. And these 2 pieces are cut at 2 by 3 1/2. On the back side of the card, I've just cut this strip because I have an idea of how I want to decorate it. So if you're doing the exact same thing as I am, then this strip is 1/2 inch by 4 1/2. Yes, because it's going to lay on the white. Then we've got all of these designer papers. So these 2 pieces are to layer on top of the Kraft paper, which is going on the inside mechanism that comes out. Here, just quickly on that. This is what I mean by these 2 pieces. So you'll need, again, 2 pieces of the designer paper, and these are cut. Oops. Actually, I'm going to go back. This Kraft paper, I know I cut it differently because I wanted to layer it. Sorry, this is 2 1/8 by 3 5/8. And then this piece is cut at 2 by 3 1/2. So it's the designer paper that's 2 by 3 1/2. Then we're going to need all these little pieces to decorate your accordion and on the sides. So you're going to need 4 strips that are 3/4 of an inch wide by, sorry, I'm looking at all my notes here, 3/4 of an inch wide by 6 3/4 long. You need 4 of those. And then for all of those little pieces, these are 3/4 of an inch wide by 1 1/4 inch long. And you've got 12 of those to fill all those little spaces. So those are all the pieces for right now. So I will go through a little bit of, I'm going to make some room here, and we will do a little bit of scoring. I'll explain the scoring of this inside, which is the piece that becomes your accordion ultimately. Okay, so at first what you're going to do is you're going to lay your card stock down. So this is 10 inches across the top, and you're going to score at every inch. So at 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, which is going to be the middle of your card, 6, 7, 8, and 9. So then you're going to fold just on the 5, and this way it folds it in half. You're going to put that fold line now up to the top. So you've got now 7 inches across the top. And then you're going to take your, you're going to take your scoring tool, and you're going to go at 1 1/2, and you're scoring all the way down to the 3rd score mark. That is going to bring us down to, I can't remember. I think it's 3. Yeah, it's 3. It's obviously 3 inches. The math is eluding me today. So 1 1/2, you're going to go all the way down to the 3 inch on the side. If you happen to have don't even know if that's in frame. If you've got the markings on the side, you go down to 3 inches. If not, you just go to the 3rd score line down from the top. And then you're going to repeat that on the right-hand side. You're going to go to 5.5 inches and again, score all the way down to the 3rd score mark or to 3 inches. And then you'll have, doing the score marks on the side, like we just did, that will give you a box in the middle. And that's what you're actually going to cut out. So to do this, there's certainly a couple of ways that you can do this. And I don't have my self-healing mat. So you can take an X-Acto blade, a ruler, and just line it all up, do it with an X-Acto blade. That might be the most precise way of doing it. The other way, and this is what I've done a couple of times, is I take my scissors. I'm going to have to angle this so that I can actually see it. I start it, but I don't like cutting all the way around the box through 2 layers because I find that I'm not very precise that way. And then you can open it up and then you can cut it. You can finish your cutting by putting your scissors in the cut mark that you just put through. So, and what you're going to do, you aim to be like right on the cut, like right in the, what's it called? The score mark. I apologize. It feels like it's been a very long week and we're only, well, Wednesday. So anyways, okay. So I'm going to fiddle around with this. I don't think I cut it quite long enough, but it is paper after all. So I'm going to cut this a little bit more. I didn't do a bad job of keeping that in line. So you just want to make sure that you've got like a firm grip on the paper, on the cardstock, so that it's not slipping and sliding. There, just wanted to cut it a little bit further, and that way we can keep going with, my goodness, my score lines. I feel like with white paper, I'm not seeing the score lines very clearly, but that's okay. That's okay, we will manage. So you get that done, and then again, on this score mark, you're gonna go all the way up, and you can always trim it a little bit later after you finish doing the main cut. You can go back and trim it, although it can make things a little bit more difficult or challenging. So once I have the shadow on it, I can see the score line, which is ultimately my cut line. I can see it a lot clearer. Well, there we go. The light is pretty bright and it seems to make the score lines disappear a little bit. I kind of overextended my cut there, but that's okay. It's going to be covered with beautiful paper. And the last one. There we go. So now we have our beautiful frame. Just going to trim a little bit off here that I'm going to grab my small scissors. Big guys have done their job. There we go. Perfect. Alrighty then. So now is where we're going to, so we don't need this really anymore. You can set that to the side. And then we're going to go along and do all of our folding. So basically it's going to be like an accordion. So the very first fold that you're going to do, if you've got your page laying flat, is you're going to do a valley fold, which just means that the top of the paper is going to come over on itself. Grab my bone folder. You do want these burnished nicely. And then the next fold is going to come back. So if you flip it over, then, excuse me, I've got the hiccups. Then the next fold is going to come back over. And then you're just going to keep flipping it back and forth, burnishing as you go. Make sure those folds are nice and crisp, because you'll get to the top and it'll be like this monster pile, I guess, of folded paper. Okay. So I just hit that 5 inch one, which had already been pretty much burnished. Let me go this way. A couple more, and then we'll be done. And your last one ends in a valley fold. And we're going to take our bone folder. Make sure that's nicely creased. And there you go, your accordion bit. So what I would suggest at this point is that you put all of your designer paper on this piece, because once it's together, it doesn't lie flat. So putting these pieces on can be a little bit tricky. You don't always get the right angle. So, you know, you end up with crooked pieces. Been there, done that. So I'm just offering my, my expert opinion on that. And so obviously these longer pieces go on the outside, and you've got one here, one on the one on the outer side, one on the closer to the inside, and then all the other little pieces go there. So I'm going to go ahead and put that all together right now. So you're not stuck watching me. I will fast forward and I will meet up with you very shortly. Okay, so there we have it. All of our little tiny pieces are now applied. And now I'm going to go ahead and start layering the pieces that are going to go on the middle mechanism, the little pop out that pops out of the frame. Just doing that really quickly. So I really am very much drawn to this craft kind of paper because it has a very rustic feel, and with this being the Farmhouse Christmas pack, it does have those brown tones in it as well. So I figured it would lend nicely to the paper. And then we're going to layer those up. It's just the two middle pieces that you really need to worry about. These two end up being glued to the outside layer, our main layer, this one. So you don't have to worry about decorating those. I am just going to put my two layers on top. And then we can get to decorating the outside, which is probably the most fun part of paper crafting. And yes, that goes that way. Okay. Some of them don't much matter which direction you put them in. Like with the holly berries, I wasn't too concerned about, because they're it's just pretty much a random pattern throughout. But like this is obviously the continuation, and I just wanted to make sure that I wasn't putting that upside down when I was applying it to my card. So there we go. A little bit of glue there. And you can, if you want to, if you're stamping, what have you, you might want to do that now and apply it, or whatever it is that you're going to do. If you're going to apply stickers later, it's not, you know, you can put this in right now. And if you're just using some glue or adhesive to put something on top, then it really wasn't too difficult. Although, you know, it again won't lie flat. So I would suggest just doing all the decorating that you were going to do to the piece right now. And that way you don't have to worry about it too much. The one other thing that I'm just going to set those aside. The one thing that I will do a little bit of right now is decorating the outside. And so I'm just going to worry right now about these two layers. So I'm going to put these together very quickly and then put them on the outside. Whoops. No contact with the paper means that I get a big blob. And once you have this on the outside, then the inside mechanism makes it so that it's a little bit on the bulky side. So let me just fold this in for you so you can see. Whoops. There we go. So it is a little bit bulkier on this side just because of the accordion fold. So if you are trying to put on stickers or writing anything, I would suggest obviously doing it before we go ahead and put the inside, which is why I'm gluing, I did glue that, yes, why we're gluing our layers right now, and then we're going to put them on the outside, do some more decorating, and the final touches will happen on the inside as soon as that's done. And this gives us a little bit of a flatter surface to work with and not so lumpy and bumpy because of the lovely accordion mechanism. So that's how it's going to layer on here. I didn't leave quite as much space with this one, but that really is a personal preference. I did it this way for this card because the 8s were doing my head in, so I didn't feel like it really needed to have that small of a gap. So plus sometimes it's nice to see the beautiful card stock underneath and all the layers. Sometimes you want to see a little bit more of that. So that is why I've done these, kept them a little bit simpler, which I'm loving. Okay, and this is going to be our back. So hopefully everybody's got some Christmas ideas, and if you don't, keep following because we are, well, like I said, I mean, at the beginning of the video, we've got some exciting information at the very end. But also have, you know, quite a few paper packs. We've got the Farmhouse Christmas by Cartabella. We have a Very Merry Christmas, also by Cartabella, so it's got that lovely texture to it. We have a new one that came in last week, which is Echo Park, and it's a lumberjack Christmas. Sorry, kind of got sidetracked there a little bit. And then we have another new one. So maybe I'll show you some of the paper packs as well at the end, because it feels like I've got some new stuff that perhaps you might be interested in. Okay, so on the back, we're on the back side of the card. I'm going to do this little strip across here because I have a sticker in mind that I wanted to use. And we'll see how this goes. Hopefully I like it. It feels right in my mind, so we'll see how it turns out. Sometimes you have an idea and it works out. Sometimes not so much. But fairly confident because again, I'm using very similar aspects. So this is one of the stickers that comes in the collection kit, excuse me. And it's very similar to the one that I'm putting on the front. So I like the continuity with the similar stickers. Doing my best to get that in the middle. I like where it is. And I just like the fact that it just kind of continues it on. So that was kind of what I was thinking in my head. And this way it gives you still lots of room at the top and the bottom to write anything that you want to write on here. There's plenty more stickers. As you can see, I've kind of really had my way with the stickers from this collection, which is great. So, and the stickers work so well with the collection. It's lovely. And then, but I think that's all I'm going to do for this one for right now on the back. On the front, we're going to leave this, we're going to set this aside. We're going to get all of our stuff done on the inside before I put this on, because we will be, and you may have noticed already, is I did do some layering and I used some of the foam squares to give it a little bit of extra dimension, but also because I wrapped it with this twine, I needed some space. Otherwise it wasn't going to lay flat and I didn't want that ripple in there. So I used 2 different types of the foam pieces so that it wasn't like gigantic. anyhow, so this is going to lay on the inside, but as you can see, like, we don't want to glue it all down, otherwise you lose that mechanism. So what we're going to do first is we're going to take one side. You're only gluing the first panel, so it's 1 inch. That is it. So once you've got your glue there, just making sure that this doesn't look all strange. So I'm going to, you know what, I'm going to switch this and do it towards me. This way I'm not reaching and I'm not going to stick my head on the camera. So you're just lining up the very end of your inside with the very end of the outside. And we're going to press that down, make sure we've got lots of good contact, nothing seeping. And then we're going to flip this around and we're going to do the exact same thing to the opposite side. So again, just the first panel, we apply our glue and then we're going to line it up. The inside is going to line up with the outside. You may have to tug it a little bit. So I've put my fingers on the base to keep that steady and then lining it up. Perfect. Again, making sure that we've got good contact and we can help it along by making sure that there's not too much pulling and tugging from the other side. And there we have it. Now, it's not always going to fold properly because it is relatively new. So you're going to have to help it along a couple of times. But once you put it in an envelope, which because of the size, you will need to make a special envelope for this. It's fairly easy if you have one of the envelope makers, but I'm probably going to be making a video on envelopes in the near future, but Sam Calcott does have some very good videos on envelope making. Even if you don't have like one of those envelope boards, I've got mine over here. There. So it just makes envelope making so easy. You just go by the card size. It's got a list of all the card sizes. It tells you what paper size you need to make it. And it goes all the way up to a 6 by 8.5 card. And we're well within that with this card. I believe this card is 5 by 7. So we're definitely within that range. Super easy to make. So, but yeah, I would definitely suggest or recommend going to see Sam for right now. I hope to have some up in the near future because especially with these specialty cards, you really do need to have an envelope made for it because there aren't very many that will be available. Okay, so with this middle piece, now that we have our frame, now that we have our accordion fold in, it allows us to see where to put this. Now you can always do this beforehand, only I've never tried it. So what I'm doing here is I'm just laying it on the bottom and just to make sure that, you know, you want to make sure that when you're putting this middle piece in, that it's within, it's not rubbing against the accordion bit. Otherwise it's not going to really work very well. And again, just making sure that I've got all my directions going the right way with all the flipping. So it's best to double check that now as opposed to once you've got everything glued in. Again, I speak from experience. Okay, so now you're just going to carefully put that in and we're lining it up with the inside fold. So that is going to be right there. And then you're going to press that down a bit. But it's looking good. We're going to flip this over and we're going to repeat the same thing on the other side. So just going to make sure that everything is nice and glued down. And then we're going to apply our glue to this side. And then we're going to do the exact same thing. Okay, so this is going to fold quite naturally on the inside, and then we're going to pull that down. Sometimes you need to give it a little bit of assistance just because that bottom, well, what is, I assume, the top is going to want to pull downwards. So just make sure that you've got that. And you can use your bone folder just to make sure that it's all nice and glued down. And there we have it. We have our beautiful accordion fold. Now you can have this folding inwards if you wanted to. I like the idea of having it come out because it's a frame and it just gives that lovely 3D effect, right? So we're done for the inside. And then the last part that I wanted to do is on the outside. So what I had done for my first card, the original card that I was showing you earlier, is I just took some of this twine, I guess. I don't really know what to call it, but we're going to call it twine. And I wrapped this around my card a couple of times, right, to give me an idea of the length. I always give myself a lot of extra length because I am not very good at tying bows. So the more I feel like I have, the better I get at making the bows, which sounded a bit like a question, which it's not, but it really doesn't even have to be a bow. It's basically a knot because I don't want this going anywhere and I wanted it extra secure. We are going to glue it down, but you know, I just wanted to make sure that this was going to stay where I wanted it to. Obviously don't pull on it too tight because you do want the paper to lay flat. But that was pretty much as simple as that. So I'm just going to trim these ends off. And then I'm going to get my score tape. I'm just going to grab a small bit of it. And move this up a little. I want to do my best. If you were really accurate, you would take your ruler and measure. But, you know, I'm going to eyeball it today and peel the backing off, and then we're going to slide this down and just press that onto the score tape, and away you go. Perfect. Love it. And then this is going to go on top. So for this one I want to use unfortunately I have run out of the very large ones, the very large foam squares. So I'm stuck using a lot of these smaller ones, but that's okay. It'll still do the same job. I'm going to put those in the middle and then run a couple across the top. Well, okay, probably an overabundance of squares that I didn't really need, but that's okay. That is okay. I just don't want the paper folding and buckling, and you want it to stay up. So normally I would go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, but these ones are really itty bitty. So I am putting them probably in, like I said, an excessive amount of little squares, and they're going to have to get them to come off, which might be a bit of a issue because the little top things love to stay stuck. Here, I feel like it needs one there. Oh, okay. Just making sure got everything peeled off. And this way you don't have any issues. And perfect. All right. So now we are going to put this on the top and just centering it in on top of your layers, and just push that down gently. The Cardabella paper is pretty sturdy, so it will hold up nicely. And then I'm just going to put another layer of the foam squares. Just these are not as lofty. They're not as deep, I guess, or high as the ones that I was just using. And that way it doesn't end up being super super dimensional, I guess. I don't know if that's a word, but if it you don't really want it to puff out too much, because you're still, if you're mailing it, especially, you got to keep that in mind, because the postal system, it may get stuck somewhere. But if you're giving it to somebody, by all means, go crazy with the adhesive, with the foam squares. If you feel like you want to give it some extra dimension, by all means. Okay, almost done with these little things. Okay, this last one doesn't want to come off. There we go. All right, and so this will simply lay down. And I did take into account that I've got this twine running through, so I didn't put anything in the middle, because that would be, it just wouldn't work. It would be stuck to the twine, and then goodness knows what would happen then. And there we have it. So we have our, what I'm going to call an accordion fun fold frame card. And thank you to Sam from Mixed Up Crafts for your fantastic idea. Really love it. Love it so much that I've made it a couple of times. Well, more than just these two, but they're kind of similar color palette. Just I decided to change it up a little bit. So that is it for this card. And now getting to our exciting little bit of news. So what we've been doing is putting together some Christmas card kits. Now, if you are a beginner, I would strongly recommend a card kit, because you don't need all the fancy tools. You don't need anything. With this particular card kit, with our card kit, I put together 3 different styles of card, and we're using some fun paper from Echo Park, some fun Christmas paper, of course. And so you'll get 3 different styles of card using the decorative paper. You'll get 4 of each style. So that's 12 cards in a kit. You will also get a sticker sheet that coordinates with this card, or sorry, with the cardstock collection. So there's an example of the sticker sheet that comes with the card kit. So you've got a ton of different stickers to use to further decorate your cards if you wish. And so I just wanted to show you really quickly. So we've got our crisscross card, crisscross fun fold. So there's a belly band on here, and this comes off. And then you've got your crisscross, some more beautiful paper. And then inside, here's where you get to decorate it. So I've just put on this quick little sticker. However you want to decorate it, it's all up to you. You can decorate certainly these 2 little flaps. I thought about putting maybe a couple of candy canes on there, or snowflakes. There's some cute little holly berries. And then the belly band just simply folds. Oops, not folds. It slides back on to the card like so. So all of these pieces will be cut for you. So the base will be cut and scored. The strips of paper, everything, you don't have to measure. There's no measuring. It basically is just assembly. So some assembly required to put together the cards. But that can be done. I have used this glue stick on all of the cards that I have made for these samples, and it's worked perfectly. So the glue stick, if you're making it with your kids, it works really, really well. So that is something that I would suggest. So, and then the other card that we've included in here is the double Z fold card. And again, lots of beautiful patterned paper. On the back is where you would write your sentiment, write your message. It gives you a lot of space. So for some of these larger stickers, you have a lot of space to kind of put that down. So that's the second card. And then the third card is the flip card. So on the front here, you've got a little flip area where you can write a message. And if you would like to write more, there's more space on the back. And I've decorated that again with some more stickers. So like I said, everything is included. There are envelopes as well. So you'll get 12 cards, 12 envelopes, 12 amazing cards. I feel like I've said that a few times. So these will be hitting our online store at fabulouspaperemporium.com come November 1st. So hopefully if you're interested, then we will see you there. So I'm extremely excited about that. Oh, and the last thing I wanted to show you really quickly is some of the paper collections. So I'm going to get up and grab some of the paper packs that we have. So this is the one that I've used today. It's the Farmhouse Christmas, and I've got that in the 12 by 12. I also have the 6 by 6, which is also really fun to use. We have the Very Merry Christmas, which I think I've shown before. So a Very Merry Christmas, it's total retro. If you're in my age category, this will totally bring back memories. I've also got the Lumberjack Christmas. And if you are a fan of the Little Lumberjack, if you're a fan of the Let's Lumberjack, I'm going to say very confidently that you will be a fan of this as well. And this particular paper, it goes so well with the Little Lumberjack and the Let's Lumberjack. And just to show you, there we go. So there we've got the Little Lumberjack and the Lumberjack Christmas side by side. So same color palette, same everything. It works so well. Now to go with the Lumberjack Christmas, I've also brought in some beautiful stamps that will also coordinate with them. So there we go. I'm trying to kind of keep that out of the glare of the light. So we've got this one, which is Warm and Cozy Wishes. And then this one is Cookies for Santa. So we've got those two in. And then the last one that I have that is Christmas related is this beautiful Simple Stories, Simple Vintage Rustic Christmas. And for here again, with all of the 12 by 12s, you will get the 12 by 12 paper, obviously, but it also comes with the stickers as well. So just wanted to let you know that. And yeah, so this is something that we're working on. I'm so happy that I was able to finally share it with you. It's taken us a little bit of time to get things all coordinated. So yeah, so hopefully you enjoyed my tutorial today. Hopefully I'll be seeing you again soon. Hopefully you stay safe and stay well. Don't forget to give me a big old thumbs up, subscribe so you don't miss any future videos. Hope you have a great night, everyone. Great afternoon, great morning, whatever time it is. Thank you so much for joining me. Have a great day. Bye.